am always on the lookout for the silliest, tiniest, cutest, most innovative, affordable cameras that I can find. And I think I found the silliest one of all. Without exaggeration or clickbait, genuinely, this has one particular feature that I wish so many other cameras had, and it blew me away. So stick around for that, but let me just show you around the device first and let's get stuck in. So this is the DXO One. It came out in 2015 and it was designed to fit into your camera and use it as like a secondary device, but it's 2023, we ain't doing that, are we? This can be used entirely standalone, and I think that's where the magic happens. This little duder has a 1-inch sensor, 20 megapixels, f1.8 lens, and it shoots RAW. It's the same sensor as the Sony RX100 Mark III. So you've got a very, very premium, tiny little compact camera in this tiny little silly body. They originally came out at around £600 to £700 actual eye-watering pounds, but you can get them now for around 100 quid. I think I got this for like £110 plus shipping on eBay. So you can find these out there for very, very cheap. I've seen some people online say they found them for like $50, so just keep your eye out. Here is where you're going to think I'm either genius or crazy. And it's okay either way, I forgive you. But this is the screen. This is how you see what's going on in the camera. It's a tiny little dot matrix kind of thing. And it only shows in a tiny little 1x1 screen, so you can't even see the whole image. That's all you get. That is all you get to compose your images. Now, yes, right now I know you think I'm crazy, but how much fun this is to play with and the psychology of why it's fun, I think is very, very interesting. It's basically like a disposable camera that's digital, because there's no way in hell you can really see what you're composing with that crazy little screen. It gives you an idea, so you know you're not shooting at the floor. There's no colour, there's no even way to check exactly where it's focused. You only get to look at these if you put it in the phone or in your computer. And I had a little challenge with myself where I shot with it, took it out with me all the time for 1 month, and I was so excited to see the photos at the end of the month. It was like getting film developed. I didn't check throughout, and I was really excited to see the results. I'm actually so pleasantly surprised at seeing the results. I think photography nowadays can be so disposable because we all have phone cameras with us, we all have all these things at our disposal. There's just something very charming about hitting and wishing and having fun with a silly little product and seeing the results you get at the end. It's okay if you think I'm crazy. And I mean, look at it. This is a camera you can genuinely, honestly take anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't even need to be in a bag, it can be in a pocket. It can go anywhere with you, and the slidey thing keeps the lens safe and everything else is tucked away. And it's also very, very easy to accidentally get your finger in the frame. So it really is like an authentic disposable camera experience. But fun and weirdness aside, this has a really good time-lapse mode in it. You can set it up very, very easily through the app on your phone and then disconnect it, stick a USB power bank in this, and you can leave a time-lapse going for hours and hours and hours on end. And you even have an auto ramping feature as well, so you can do day to night time lapses with this little thing. I'm excited to play with that feature a bit more. So composing and using this and the lens quality. This is a 32mm equivalent. So the good thing about that is around 35mm, they say, is what your eye sees. So it's very simple to sort of point it generally in the right direction and click the button, and what you see is quite literally what you get. I think it's a very nice lens. It has a 1.8 aperture. It's surprisingly good with shallow depth of field. You get more usable shots than you would think. I'm actually quite impressed. So at the beginning, I said that this had one killer feature that I wish other cameras had. And I wasn't lying, it wasn't clickbait. This is made by DXO. And if you've heard of that brand before, you may associate them with noise reduction software and technology. This has a feature called Super RAW. And cheesy name aside, it's a type of a RAW file, so you can take it in camera, and it takes 5 RAW images instantly, all at the same exposure, stacks them together, and then uses its magical software to completely eradicate the noise or eradicate a hell of a lot of the noise. And I thought, that's a bit gimmicky. This came out in 2015. There is no way with the 1-inch sensor this can be anywhere as good as I want it to be in low light. I was very, very, very wrong. With the Super RAW, it is incredibly easy to get very, very clean low light images. It's actually ridiculous. And you get the software for free on desktop, so it can open those Super RAW files. Super RAW! It's great. The only downside is because it takes a second or two to capture that data. You can do it handheld. It's great. I think it takes it basically instantaneous, but then it just buffers a little bit as it saves it down to one file. So I've not really noticed any blurry or incorrect photos just using it in general, but you do take the camera out of action for a couple of seconds while it saves it. That's the only downside. So for low light situations, whack it in Super RAW. For everyday situations, the general RAW files are blooming great. They have so much more dynamic range than I was expecting. You can use this in aperture priority, shutter speed priority, manual mode, whatever you fancy, but 90% of the time I'm shooting in auto mode. It even has a flash on this, which I literally only realized as I was setting up to record this video, and I found it in the menu on the iPhone. So yeah, it has a flash that can be used as a constant light as well, if you ever need that. But seriously, if Super RAW was in earlier Micro Four Thirds cameras, would the low light debate, shall we very kindly call it, even be that much of a conversation? There is a perfectly good workaround in this. This 2015 bargain miniature camera has a really good low light solution. I guess it must be proprietary to DXO. I kind of wish they'd bring out more cameras. I think that's quite an exciting feature. And genuinely, if that was in other cameras, I would rave about it. The DXO One also shoots video. But let's not talk about that. Let's just not talk about that. I was fully expecting the battery life to be uber pants. That's the official term. I've not actually charged this for about 5 days, and I have used it quite a lot. You know, take it out, take a photo, put it away, take it out, laugh at its stupid screen for a bit, show me friend and go, oh, isn't that stupid? And then put it back. And I'm still on 74%, which isn't shabby, really. In terms of your menus, you have a tiny little touchscreen and you have the option to choose your professional mode of choice. So the last time you've put it in your phone and you've chose aperture priority, which is what I've done, you have one professional mode, then you have your auto mode where everything is up to the camera, and then you have the video mode, which we don't talk about, and then you can swipe down and see the cute little stupid screen again. The menu, you don't need the menu for very much. I love that you can just sort of turn it on, click and go, but it's actually surprisingly quite easy to navigate. So I fully admit that this camera is not for everyone. It's a luxury purchase, it's not something we're going to run a business with, but if you want something fun to play around with that shoots RAW, has a really good 1-inch sensor in it, has some incredibly interesting and innovative low light features, and perhaps brings back the joy of the disposable camera era, I think this is great. And I'm so glad that I took a punt and bought it, and it just makes me smile. I think the screen is the silliest, best thing I've ever seen. And honestly, given that I was using the silly screen, I don't think the images are that bad. So check it out. And if you think I am insane, which is perfectly valid, watch this video next where I go over the GM1, the blue machine, the beautiful, compact, Micro Four Thirds camera of my dreams. Here it is.